Hey, YouTube. Well, y'all see Queen Sugar last night? That's what I'm here to talk about. Queen Sugar, episode, what is it? It's season 4, episode 7, I believe. I'm almost certain it's episode 7. Anyway, so it opens up with Nova. Nova arrives for a TV interview, right? And one of the producers meets her and wants to meet with her in like the room they go in, the green room they call it, I think. Informs her that they have dug up some information in her genealogy. And she gives Nova this paper, right? And Nova says, absolutely not. I would not absolutely refuse to answer any questions on that subject. You're going to stick to the script. She tells her no, right? Something, they say in genealogy. So I'm not sure what I'm supposed to make of that, but when she gets to the actual show, the interviewer, this black male, informs her that they have discovered. So I guess this interviewer has gone over the other person's head. Are they sharing the same information? Because Nova told her absolutely not for the information she shared with her. And now this interviewer is going right into another question of genealogy, which is that Nova has actually she was under the impression that her mother had no sisters, right? So she had no living relatives on her mother's side. But the man informs her that you have an aunt and shows her the picture of the lady. And she is alive and living there somewhere in the South. So Nova's actually very happy about this. She says the best news she's ever got, to have an actual living relative. So now we're just going to guess here. Maybe it won't go this direction. As you guys know, the writer can take it in any direction they want to take it, right? But I'm wondering if this old lady is going to end up being Nova's actual mother. I've spoken to a lot of black people over the years, and many times they have, as adults, discovered that they did not actually have the parenting that their natural parents weren't who they thought they were. Similar to the situation with Blue. I'm guessing perhaps this first cousin of Nova's is going to actually be her mother. Maybe I'm reaching. We'll see. But if it does come up, believe me, I will be reminding you again that I thought of it from the beginning. Okay. Charlie has a conversation with the only black city councilwoman from not her parish, not St. Joe, but an adjoining parish. One of these ones that they're in one of the other alternatives for where this freeway is supposed to go, right? The black woman is not very impressed with Charlie. She says she's read your sister's book. This is the book season. Everything, all stories veer from this book, right? But Charlie's trying to get the woman to see that they need to work together and so forth. We'll get back to that because it comes back and haunts us real quick. Next thing we see is the cops or somebody plant drugs on that guy. What's his name? Benny. In Benny's car, right? And either the cops put it in there and pretended to find it, or someone else planted it there and then called and informed the cops because they said they got an anonymous tip. But that could go either way. Somebody planted drugs on this boy. He has no idea what he's talking about. But they come to the farm and take him away. They've arrested Benny. Ralph arrives there, makes a big scene. They don't care. They take him anyway, right? Nova runs into her old boo. Y'all remember the very first scene of Queen Sugar? I believe it was the very first scene in Queen Sugar. We see Nova in bed with this white guy, right? As it turns out, the white guy is a cop, and not only is he a cop, he is a married man with a family. She's having this affair with him, right? They run into problems because he is a cop, she is an advocate, and she's advocating she's advocating against these crooked cops that are on his force. It gets to be a big mess. And they end up breaking up, right? That and the marriage could play into that. But they broke up. But that was the very first scene we saw. Those two. So she runs into him. And he informs her that he has read her book. And that he's very flattered that he is the love of her life, according to her book. And then informs her that she was also the love of his life, right? So it looks like we're going to be seeing Calvin a lot more. Calvin seems to be re-entering her life. Calvin is no longer a cop in St. Joe. He has now got his own security force, or a security firm in Baton Rouge. So I'm guessing that since Charlie and the family are having all these problems with the laundries and or this other secondary situation we're going to talk about in a minute here, they're having a lot of security troubles there in St. Joe, right? In the Bartolone family. I'm thinking maybe not, since he just happens to be have his security firm, and they're having all these security problems, and I will be listing the problems in a second here, but they got many, many problems. They're being attacked on all fronts. This could be the bridge back to the family. Just guessing, just a guess, but I mean, they're all in the same. He's in that business, and they need that help. Hollywood is off visiting his mother because Aunt Vi had sent him off, told him that she needed some time alone. So he's taken off to visit his mother. Yeah. In a minute here, we're going to see that the restaurant gets vandalized. And everyone would think, well, of course you're going to call your husband. Your place of business has just been horribly vandalized. But she does not tell him because she wants to get herself together and get him back under those conditions. She don't want him coming back because the place has been vandalized. Right? Or something like that. Darla finds out. She goes to work and she finds an open copy of Nova's book on her desk at her job. She's working in she was a trained accountant, I believe. So she's working for some kind of firm. She finds an open copy on her desk. You know, that all her business is in that, and hers, I think, is really probably the most embarrassing of all the people involved. Darla's story is the most, dramatic. Anyway, when she finds it, she sees everyone's giggling. They all got the giggles. All the white folks in the office got the giggles. So she saunters over to the water cooler, and then they all disperse. So they're laughing at her. And one of them put that book on her chair. Okay. Vi says that. So somehow or other, I done skipped over the damn part about the restaurant. Vi turns the lights on one morning to discover that the restaurant has been horribly vandalized, where chairs have been cut open and everything is turned over, things knocked off the walls. They've done a thorough job of vandalizing, terrorizing her restaurant, right? So now, she says at least she has good insurance. She's got good insurance, and she also has family and the townspeople there. So they all come together and put Vi's restaurant back together. Also, they find out who is the vandal. Charlie is, Charlie hired a PI, private investigator, and the guy discovers video from other businesses around. and they discover that the guy who's doing the actual vandalizing is one of the farmhands' son, right? So Ralph recognizes who this person is with the baseball bat. He says this is one of his workers' son, that they've already lost one son, and they couldn't do that to the family to have this boy arrested, right? So we have to try to wing this. Charlie sets up a meeting between his pastor and his family. He tells who hired him, and then strangely enough, it wasn't the Landrys. Apparently the guy, Charlie shows him a picture. Is this the guy who hired you? And the guy is from a oil company, gas company. And so she's saying that why would a gas company, what was the name of that company? Old World Energy. Old World Energy is hiring people to do all this vandalizing of Vi's restaurant. And remember, this guy they planted drugs on one of the farm workers. And several things happen in this episode. They are really aggressively after these Bordelons. And that's what makes me think that this guy, Calvin, may very well get involved in that, since he's in that business and he's from that area. Okay, so Charlie goes and sees, after they identify this guy's from the gas company, she goes and sees a guy who had a crush on her. What's his name? Jacob. Okay, she goes and confronts Jacob about the situation that's going on, all this vandalizing and so forth, right? She tricks him into admitting that this gas company is also involved in their plan. So he tells her the issue is fracking, whatever that means. But when the Laundries were trying to open up that prison there, remember that? And it got stopped. Charlie and the others stopped this plan for this big prison. While they were escalating don't make me try to guess at the word. Excavating. While they were excavating this land to prepare for building this prison, they discovered natural gas on the land. So now the big reason they want this freeway to come to St. Joe is because of this new project with the gas company. They're acquiring the land because it has natural gas on it. And they want to build a freeway as well. So there are two different things here. Okay? Next thing we see is Darla confides in her new little boyfriend, right? So Darla has been seeing this guy. He's also a recovering addict. He's been clean longer than her. She's in tears because now she has to face these people on her job, all because of Miss Nova. He encourages her. This is something that addicts have to go through. Lord, don't I know it. Where your past might bump up against you, people will realize. I mean, I think it's kind of extra hard for a woman to be a prostitute kind of thing. It was embarrassing for her. But he tries to say that I've had to go through issues as well with dealing with my past, and my past coming up to confront me. He says, I think you should call your sponsor. For some reason, Darla doesn't want to call her sponsor. So from what I remember at a 12-step program, the first thing she should have did was call her sponsor. Your sponsor is just a person who was in the program, been clean a little longer than you. They can steer you in the right direction of what is safe for you and what is not safe for you. But she doesn't want to contact. She says she's not weak. It's nothing to do with weak. Even if you've been clean for 30 years, people in that program, they still have sponsors. Okay? Somebody to talk to. Okay, she says she's just hurt and she'll get through it. So far, she has not walked away from that job, though. Remember now, she got a son, she's got a home, she's got a life she got to maintain. Next thing we see, Charlie brings this boy, this young guy, Spanish kid. She brings him to meet with Aunt Vi. Of course, Aunt Vi she's prepared. She's still angry. But she meets with the kid. Before the kid can say more than 5 or 6 words, she says, "Hop, don't say another word." Here's how we're going to work it out. So they work out a deal where he's going to work for her until the damage is paid for. Right? So the guy's parents have had him come over there and apologize and also make it right with Vi. So they don't send this kid to jail because they only had 2 sons. One's already been killed. And I think the father's dead or gone or deported as well. Anyway, so they work it out. Nova and Calvin have a mushy moment. It almost seems it's kind of surreal, this mushy moment they're having. Like they're reciting poetry to each other, but they're actually just talking. They're both admitting that they were madly in love. The things I did wrong, the things you did wrong, such and such, such and such. Mushy moment. And then we break to Charlie. Okay, Charlie and her supporters or people involved in her campaign gotten together, and there are TV cameras there, and they are letting the public know what is going on in St. Joe. As far as this fracking, the gas company, and this freeway. They all have on cute little t-shirts and then make their announcement, right? But it's not over. Okay. But they did tell what was going on. It made it public. Nova and Calvin, they continued their mushiness. I mean, he goes away after they had the first mushiness. Then he shows up at her hotel room before she's packing to get ready to leave. Then they have more mushy talk, and they decide they want to try it again. Right? Now, you would think this would be the end of it. But no, we switch back to Charlie, and there's a phone call. Charlie and Micah are discussing her using some pictures he took of them in his t-shirts, making this announcement, right? She's saying, well, I don't want it to seem like I'm just doing this to get elected. He's convincing her, no, this is all part of it. This is all part of the parish news, right? Then the phone rings. The mill is on fire. That's where we ended. The mill is on fire. So these people are playing serious, and I guess it's just not just Landry's. Perhaps they're all in cahoots together. But this gas company is extremely aggressive. That's why I believe that this other guy, Calvin's going to get involved with this, because he has a security firm. Okay, so that's where we left it, people. All right, talk to you next week.